For many, starting a business means taking a big risk. And with so much financial uncertainty in the world right now, it seems like a crazy time to be starting a business. But in this episode, I speak to Laura, who has done exactly that. She has started the business she's been dreaming of for years, and she's done it all during lockdown. So Laura, thank you so much for joining me this evening. So I have heard that during this time of lockdown, you have actually gone and started a business.
Yeah, I have. How crazy is that?
Wow. That is crazy, and that is really cool and really exciting. So can you tell me a bit about the business? What is it that you're doing?
Yeah, so basically I've opened up my own sort of cake shop / bakery online. So it's through Instagram and through Facebook. I basically make cakes, cupcakes, brownies, all kind of variety of baked goods for people. It's something I've wanted to do for ages and finally kind of got around to doing in lockdown. I opened, I think, 19th of May, so good few weeks into lockdown. But yeah, I just kind of bake and it's been crazy. I've had so many people excited about it, so many people talking about it, so yeah, it's been mad.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you said you've been thinking about it for a while, and
yeah.
What was it about lockdown that kind of made you think, right, I'm going to give it a go?
Well, I've been wanting to do it, as I say, for a long time. I did a degree in culinary arts, so I kind of did a degree based on wanting to do something to do with food, and from that I decided I wanted to own a bakery. And I've always been telling myself, I'll wait for the right time, and I've had full-time jobs, so it's meant that I didn't have free time to kind of do anything about it. And during lockdown I've been on furlough from my full-time day job, and so I've had 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to actually go ahead and do it. And I think finally I plucked up the courage to start, because I had so much time on my hands that I really couldn't fathom an excuse not to start. I've been making excuses for myself since I was 18 as to why I didn't start a business, and now I have absolutely nothing to do. I realised this is the perfect time, even though everyone's kind of in this space of not knowing what's coming. Even if it just became a portfolio, I decided that I better start something now, because I might not, when I go back to work and things go a little bit crazy, I didn't want to have another excuse not to do it. So I realised just I had so much time that now was the perfect opportunity, I guess, in amongst the craziness that was happening.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great way to look at the time that you have. I know a lot of people are probably trying to fill it up with Netflix and things like that. But
I think that was the first 2 weeks. I think the first 2 weeks is Netflix.
So you ran out of Netflix, and then you're
honestly, yeah. I feel I ran out of things to force myself to do, and came to the reality of I actually have so much time and I don't know when this is going to end. So if I don't make the most of it, I'm going to look back on this time and be what did I actually do for 6 months of my life? Did I do anything productive? Because the first month I definitely didn't. I was all Netflix and Disney Plus and all that. But I realised that I needed to do something, and what a better time to start a business than when you've got literally nothing else to do, nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think one of the things that people often think with a business is that you're going to need a lot of money to start things up, which I guess being on furlough, it's going to be a challenge financially. Yeah. So how did that work out for you? Was that the case? Did you need a lot of kind of startup capital?
I always thought that I would. I always thought that you needed loads of money to start a business, which is kind of, I guess, is implanted in you because you think you're going to need so many different things to begin a business. But actually, when I look at it, I didn't spend a penny to open up my business. Not a single penny. I didn't spend any money, which in itself sounds like I'm lying. It sounds crazy, but I asked for help from friends who had opened up their own businesses, and they gave me advice. And Instagram and Facebook, where I started my business, is completely free to open up a new account. And I created an email address, which again is free. and just kind of went from there. I thought that I would need so much money and so much experience in business, but I realized that like just starting is enough, and just like having a go, because you can learn things as you go. And if it came to a point where I needed a lot of money, then I would just hold my business where it is and try and find the capital. But at this point, I haven't needed any extra money on top of just the money that comes in from the business. So it's one of those things that I think people automatically think you need a lot of money for a business. And I suppose I've been quite blessed that the business that I'm in, the money covers all the costs that come out. I don't have like a really big chunk of money coming out for like programs or like equipment or anything. Everything's kind of relatively small based and quite a small amount of money. But I think that you really can start a business with little or nothing. I started with like no money extra for the business, thinking that I will just give it a go, and I spent nothing to open it up. Wow. So yeah, it's weird.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So you're creating cakes and stuff, is that right?
Yeah.
So you're doing that just in your kitchen at home?
Yeah, just doing everything from home at the moment.
What you already had?
Yeah, everything at home. The only thing that I guess you would kind of have to pay for is I had a food hygiene certificate that I got when I was at university, but you can do those online and they're really cheap. So I mean, that would be like the only thing before opening the business that you would need. So yeah, it's weird that you don't need a lot of money, and I think that automatically in your head when you think of a business you think you need a lot of money, but the reality was that didn't happen for me. I could just start with what I had, which was amazing.
Yeah, that is so good.
Yeah.
So good. I love that. Like there's this, there's definitely different ways you can approach business.
Yeah.
You can go out and get big loans, get into lots of debt, take a massive risk, like remortgage the house and things like that. And some people do, but I think just starting small, thinking like what is the smallest thing you can possibly do that is moving in the direction of the dream of the business that you want to have, and then start there. And as you can say, you can start with what you've got, with nothing, and do it.
And I think sometimes we think like it could be really scary when you hear about obviously people who do genuinely take out big loans and remortgage their houses. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And if they fully believe in what they're doing, then like that's amazing. But for me, I didn't want to do that when I was in such an uncertain time in lockdown. I didn't want to put out a lot of money and a lot of risk when my life was risky enough as it was, and the things of my work and the people around me, I didn't want to risk more than we'd already risked. So I kind of was like, what is the minimum I could do? And at the end of the day, if it didn't work, then the Instagram and Facebook could just be pages where I share my love of baking, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But they've turned into so much more, and I don't think people should be afraid of starting with a tiny amount. Starting with something as small as an Instagram page can turn into your own business. Something as small as creating videos on YouTube and people have millions and millions of followers. I think starting with something that's small shouldn't be taken as a negative thing, because you're starting with something is better than not starting at all. So I think it's right. Yeah.
So good. So what are some of the challenges that you've faced so far?
I think one of the main challenges when I think of what's happened so far is that I'm really bad at social media. Like, it's awful that I'm so bad. I'm so bad at social media. With my own Instagram, I rarely post anything. I rarely do anything on Facebook. It's all just kind of sharing other people's stuff. So having to learn how to manage a social media page, because that was the entirety of my business, was Facebook and Instagram, which was all social media. Having to learn how to do that on the job, as it were, that's been quite a challenge, because I feel as though you look at other people's pages, their other businesses, and you think that is just so much more than I could ever do in my life, but you're looking at someone's end product when I've just started. So again, I asked people who are around me who have started their own businesses online and just said, like, how did you do it? What did you do? What are some of the tips that you can give me just as I start out? And I'm still not brilliant at social media. It's only been like a couple of months. I'm still not the best, but I think that it's definitely getting there, but at the beginning it was a real challenge having to regularly post, make sure that I'm posting the right things at the right time to connect with people, and learning about the business side of social media as well, that actually it's more than just posting a nice picture and hoping for the best. Like, there's more to it than that, and I think I was quite naive at the beginning of thinking that that's all it would ever be. And it could be that if I decided to just turn it into a photo gallery, I guess. But at the beginning, it was very difficult to figure that out. So that's been a real big challenge for someone who's very novice in social media, to actually learn how it works online as a business. Because face-to-face and having your own shop window and everything is so different to managing a business online. So that's probably been the biggest challenge that I've found so far, is like, actually, how on earth do I get people to know about my business online?
Was it quite a slow start once you made a start, like getting followers and getting clients?
Yeah.
Did it take a while?
So at the beginning, it was just about kind of getting the word out there. And I messaged a few of my friends and said, I'm starting my own business. I've decided it's going to happen. Would you mind sharing my page just so that people can get it out there? And I think I only messaged 2 or 3 people, thinking, right, let's just start somewhere. But so many people knew what I wanted to do, and I think the fact that I'd posted online finally about having a business, everyone jumped on board so quickly and shared it around that within the first 48 hours, I think I already had orders coming in, because my friends had shared it so widely. I think over 2,000 people saw my first post on Facebook, and that for me is wild. That I originally thought that the couple of people that I messaged were going to be it, but I think I had over 20 shares originally just for my first post, and from then I got orders. And I think that I underestimated the power of just sharing on social media. I thought that it would take a long time, and it can do, and my Instagram definitely didn't pick up like my Facebook did. The Facebook was shared so much that people automatically came to the page, but Instagram took about 2 or 3 weeks before I got an order. So it varies depending on the platform and depending on the people that are sharing it. But I was incredibly blessed that the people around me were so excited for me that they just instantly shared it and said, I'm so excited. She's finally created a business. And I remember there was a couple of people who I used to go to school with. This was 10 years ago. And they shared it, and in their comment at the top, they said, my friend who I've known for 10 years finally posted that she's got a business online. We've been waiting since high school for this. And I think it hit me that I've waited such a long time, that I've got friends from high school who remember me talking about having my own business. And now that I'm here, they're jumping on and really excited for me too. But it did take a little while for my Instagram to kind of build up. I think it can get really nerve-wracking and really terrifying to think, I've shared this out to the world, I've put it out there, I've put my face out there, and people aren't responding to it. But once it did get going, actually I've had a consistent amount of orders, and actually now Instagram is the first place that people go to order. So it's almost gone topsy-turvy, that I thought that Facebook was going to be the main place because that's the way it started, but as it's gone on, Instagram has become the number one place for people to order. So I think out of that, you kind of think to yourself, don't get disheartened if your page doesn't do as well as you think it's going to, because the page that did the worst at the beginning is now bringing in the most orders. And it can be really scary, but at the end of the day, it worked. And my friends sharing it took 5 seconds for each of them to share, but it meant that I got over 2,000 people looking at my page in the first 48 hours. And I think that in itself, for me, was a massive hurdle to get over. It was incredible to see my friends do that, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think one of the things I found myself as a solo entrepreneur is that you can kind of get into thinking that actually, this is just on me, I'm the only one making it. But actually, there are so many people around that are kind of championing championing. There are so many people around that are kind of championing you.
Yeah.
And they want you to succeed, and they will go and support you and
absolutely
share your content and really help you out. And you're never on your own.
No, and I think that you get
business.
into that mindset of thinking that you're on your own. You get into that mindset of thinking that this is my business, I've got to do everything. But actually, 5 seconds of their time sharing your business can really change the number of orders or number of people that see your page. And like, I sent out only 2 or 3 messages because I was afraid that I was taking up people's time with them sharing my business. I felt like me asking them was a big ask. But every single person who shared, I said thank you to, and they just said, like, we were going to share it anyway. Like, no matter what happened, we're here for the long haul with you. Like, don't be afraid to ask your friends to share pages, and don't be afraid to ask people to, like, spread the word, because it won't cost them anything. And I think that's the real reality, is that it cost them, like, 5 seconds of their time to click share. And it meant that I got so many more orders in. So you're never by yourself in business. It can feel like that, and you're right in that you can feel because you're solo doing this, it's all down to you. But the reality is that everyone around you is supporting you, and they will do whatever it takes alongside you to help.
Yeah, awesome. So where do you see things going from here for your business in the future? So
short term, I've got my main source of work. So I work full-time as a catering manager, and at the moment I'm still furloughed from that. So short term, I'm going to be continuing on with how I'm doing things now, just online, and eventually I will be going into doing this full-time. So I want to have it as a full-time, my solo, my only income. Eventually, I'm looking like at least a year in advance for this, but I would really love it to be my main source of income, my main business. And I would also really love to have a premises. That's like the vision that I would have, is that I have a premises where I can bake and sell from, that I can create so many different more products, that I can create bakery items throughout Norwich, throughout Norfolk. That is the vision, that I want this to be my own business, but physically out there, that it's not just online. I always thought that I would do almost the physical stuff first, but actually doing it this way around has kind of given me a customer base already for when I do have like a shop or a bakery. But that is the end goal. I really want to have a bakery, and that's the vision that I have in my head, that I really want a physical premises that people can come to and smell the bread in the windows and come and sit in and have a tea and a slice of cake. Like, that is the vision. I really imagine that's going to happen in the next, like, 5 years or so. The fact that this has happened so fast has meant that I feel like my vision's coming so much quicker than I'd ever thought that it would. But yeah, a premises would be amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm excited for that.
I know, me too.
I think it's great as well. Like, you've got this incredible dream, but as we said earlier, like, you found a way to take that step towards that, and to make a start right now, and to start earning money, which is such a crucial part of it.
Yeah.
And kind of proving that this is something that's viable, and you can take it on and build it and build it and build it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It was scary at the beginning, but now I'm here. Like, it's been 2.5 months since I started. Now that I'm here, I can't imagine of not doing it. I can't imagine not starting that business. I'm so proud that I did it, and I actually took the step to doing it. Still scary, but I'm really proud that it's happened.
So what advice would you give anyone else who wants to start a business?
Well, I have to say, one of the things that really affected me at the beginning is that for the past 5 to 10 years, I've been giving myself reasons not to do it. Like, I talk myself out of not opening the business every single time. And that's one thing that I think people can get into their heads, is that you talk yourself out of doing it because you rationalize the reality that you have in front of you. Like, rationalizing the fact that I don't have a lot of money, or I don't have a premises to work from, or I don't have a lot of customers, can make you in your head think, well, all those are very rational things, so that means I shouldn't do it. When in fact, when I spoke to people, every single person I spoke to, friends, family, were like, just start, just go for it. And I was telling myself not to. So if I can give people advice, I would say stop talking yourself out of doing it and just start. Like, start anywhere. Start with something that's free if you have no money. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, emails, they're all free. Start with something small that is manageable for you, and it can grow from there. That talking yourself out of something doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It just means it's going to happen a lot later. Like, I could have started this business 3 years ago when I came straight out of university, and I keep thinking to myself, where would I have been if I started that? But I think that it's important to know that I did start now, and I stopped talking myself out of doing the business. So that would be one piece of advice I would give to people. I think another piece of advice is that you don't need a lot of money to start. We were talking about this earlier, that people think you need a lot of money, but you really don't. You don't need such a big amount of capital to actually start a business. Talking to your friends who have done something similar, or even if they've just started a business, it's not the same as yours, but they've started one, just sitting down with them and having a cup of tea and chatting over how they did it is vital information that they may or may not charge you for, depending on the business that they run. That might be something that they can help you with, and things that they might be able to impart upon you. And that is priceless information that helped me start. But asking for help is never a bad thing. Always ask the people around you, because everyone's going to have a different take on what to do, but everyone's going to be able to help you in some way, shape or form. And I would say the final thing is just start. Like, just starting is, it sounds so simple, but actually just doing something, anything, no matter how big or small it is, just choosing something to do. Whether it be deciding to create a website. You can use loads of different websites these days to make your own website, and they talk you through the whole process if that is something you're really interested in, or a social media page, or anything. Just actually putting your hands to something that you really want to do and starting can change the course of your business, because it can mean that it may take you a little bit longer, but you've actually given it a go. You've started something. And I think that we underestimate the power of just going for it and just starting it with whatever's in your hand. That what you've got at the moment is going to be enough for you to begin. No matter what the business is, it could take you further, but just start with what you have, and you'll make it no matter what. I just think that I could have done this so much sooner had I known that I really didn't need a lot of money, because I was trying to decide whether to buy a house or start a business, and I decided that they don't have to be separate, that I can do both. So just starting it, no matter what it is, just give it a go, because you never know what could happen.
Cool, well, Laura, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for sharing about your experience of starting a business in lockdown. You know, I think a lot of people are going to find this really encouraging and really inspiring to see what you've done. And yeah, whether you're in lockdown, or we're all in lockdown, whether you're furloughed or not, like, as you say, you can make the best of the opportunities that you've got in front of you. You can start something with nothing, just a bit of time, and really make something of it, as you have done. And you're just starting out, and I'm so excited to see where your business is going to go, where it's going to go in the months and years to come.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been amazing.
Cool, thank you. Well, take care.
And you.
If you want to see some of Laura's incredible cake creations, she is LoveLauraNXO on Facebook and Instagram. We'll put a link down in the description. For show notes and more resources, head to financialuniversity.co.uk. And why not check out some of the other great videos from Proclaimers here on our YouTube channel.